Hello, welcome to another episode of Voice for SME. You know, individuals across the world go into businesses for different kinds of reasons. It could be for the purpose of freedom, it could be to earn higher income, or to simply have control over your life. If you live in this part of the world, add unemployment to that list. Our aim basically on this show is to showcase these business giants who are doing everything they could against all odds. Today I have with me Gbenga Ogundimu, a cobbler. You know, he calls himself a shoemaker. And it's so good to have you on this show, Gbenga. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks for having me on the show.
So Gbenga, your story is a very interesting one. From the very serious banking and finance kind of person to shoemaking. I mean, tell us the story. What's the journey like?
Okay, it was an interesting one. I think I actually got bored of consulting. So I decided to make use of my hands, and I learned the skills. I remember learning the skills because I love good shoes. So I could not afford them, so I decided to learn how to make them. So that was brought about shoemaking, and I working under consulting. I got bored, so I decided to make use of the skills I learned. So that was how the journey was started.
So talk to us. Who is Gbenga? Where did Gbenga start from? And tell us about Styling Classic. What have you been able to do? What kind of shoes do you make? Do you source your materials locally or you buy them? You know, we want to know about that.
I'm Gbenga Ogundimu. I'm creative director of Styling Classic. Styling Classic, we produce handmade shoes, bags, leather products, slip-ons. For me, it's been a journey, a very long journey, like all the way from my school days, reading banking and finance in school. Came out with my 2-1, went for the professional certificates, Qatar Institute of Bankers, CIBN, got my associate degree also. Okay, it's been a fun journey. So I'm a transition. Did 2 years with intelligent consulting. We trained access bank staffs on foreign exchange rates. So it was fun while it lasted, but I believed I could do more. I could impart more. I could impart more lives more. I believe I was a bit limited to my space, so I wanted to be free. Yes, and I make more use of my time, more quality use of my time. That was actually what brought me to shoemaking, and it has been my love. Okay, after God, probably my next love.
Really? You don't need to get married.
We'll get there, but it has been my love, as in, it has what has motivated me to wake up every morning.
How profitable has it been? I mean, how long have you been? First of all, how long have you been doing it, and how profitable has it been? And do you think it's going to be sustainable for, a long time?
Yeah, actually, at this stage of my business, I'm not really looking at profit. I'm looking at growth, I'm looking at expansion, how impactful I am on the community, and how big my business is going to be. The future is what matters more. The vision is what I'm pursuing. So I'm not really looking at profitability at this stage. I'm looking at expanding the business.
So how do you expand without profitability?
Yeah, the business is quite profitable because it's actually started from me learning a skill with 10,000 naira. I've been able to increase capacity, get a shop, get tools. So I'm increasing in size. So fine, it's profitable, but to me, I'm not looking at profitability now. I'm looking at growth. I need it to expand.
Knowing fully well that you're very familiar with the business terrain in Nigeria, from your background and what you studied, and then your experience running business as well. If you could, what is that one thing that you would change, regarding the business terrain in Nigeria?
Yeah, in the business terrain in Nigeria, we complain a lot about sourcing for funds. Funds a lot has been a major challenge for me. When you tell someone you're doing a shoemaking business, they kind of associate you with the people knocking plastic all over the place. So getting funds to build an industry out of this small business has always been the challenge for me. So if I want to change something, I'll probably change the way banks and financial institutions look at these small businesses. There are good ways you can bring things out of these big businesses. These are businesses you can turn to industries on the long run.
So you're talking about them actually being very flexible with the way they
give out loans, yeah,
small and
and reduce it on the interest rate and collaterals.
So, any hopes of going into banking and finance later in the future? If you want to go into investment banking, commercial banking, any hopes, anything?
I've not really thought about it. It's something I did for close to 5 years in school. Probably I would like to practice for the fun of it. Just to have the fun of it. I would love to practice for maybe a while at least, so that it won't be a wasted certificate. So I would love to use the certificate.
Okay, so tell us about your role model. I'm sure you might have a lot of them, but just mention one to us.
Wow, I have a lot of role model. Okay, if you ask me, my major role model have always been Pastor Sam Adeyemi. And he has taught me how to dream. One of the reasons I actually had the guts to leave my consulting work was actually when he said you just have to start where you have. Start, and I asked myself what do I have, and I discovered that I had the knowledge on shoemaking. So that was what actually encouraged me to go into business, and it's still what's keeping me going in the business.
What has been your biggest challenge running business? I know there's a lot. You know, when you talk to various SMEs today, you hear finance, you hear business environment isn't that friendly, you know, a lot of challenges. So what has been, you know, the biggest challenge for you so far running the business?
My biggest challenge has been actually getting the youth to get involved. I think a lot of our youth are misled into fast cash. So it's very hard. Yeah, they want to blow quickly, and it's very hard for them to put hands on deck. Like, get there, get dirty, let's work this thing out. So that has been my biggest challenge point. The thing is, I've tried to encourage a lot of youths, and there's this program I'm currently running, free basic training for graduates and undergraduates, anybody out there that wants to learn the skills. I'm giving them free training. But you get a lot of time when these people come in, I think they kind of like get discouraged because it's not going to make you the quick cash. So they end up not staying. So it's ways of trying to get these people encouraged and trying to tell them that this thing will work on the long run.
So having said all these challenges now, what keeps you going? I mean, I'm sure there are some times when you just want to give up and be like, I'm done, I'm just tired of everything. What keeps you going?
Yeah, I believe my vision to make the biggest shoe brand in Africa, that is home-produced, locally sourced materials, have actually kept me going. I believe it was a God-given vision. So it's what keeps me waking up in the morning and going to my shop and putting all hands on deck and producing these shoes.
Every business has a plan. I mean, there's a vision, there's a goal of where you're going. So tell us, where do you start laying in 5 years, 10 years? You know, tell us about that.
I feel first of all, my 5-year plan for my business is to at least grow to the size that I can at least supply shoes to my immediate community. At least I can produce shoes well enough for students in schools, for medium-time workers, and a 10-year plan is probably competing with the Italians and look for ways of reducing more importation of these shoes into the country.
Finally, any advice for young people out there, young graduates, young people who want to go into business as well? What do you have to tell them so they don't have to, you know, make some certain mistakes that you made along the way? What advice would you give to them?
Yeah, my advice for young people out there is believe in yourself. There's nothing you can't achieve in this world. You can start with the little you have. You always have something. Just go out there, work hard, and try to learn new things. There are a lot of things to learn out there. Just keep learning. That is the major. The moment you stop learning, you start dying. You just have to continue to learn. So
that is that on Gbenga Ogundimu's story. I was inspired. I hope you were. So if you're a business owner out there and you're running your business, I hope you're persistent at it. And who knows, your story might be the next one that will be told. So I remain Bukola Oyedoku, your host for Voice for SME. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.